All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're talking about why 96% of small businesses fail. We're talking about winning the battle of the mind. And on today's show, we're joined with MMA fighter Joel King Bauman, James J. DeCristofaro, Josh Wilson of Living Water Irrigation, and they share why in order to win, you must first win the battle of the mind.
3, 2, 1, boom! You are now entering the dojo of Mojo and the Thrive Time Show.
Thrive Time Show on the microphone. What is this? Top of the iTunes charts in the category of business. Drilling down on business topics like we are a dentist. Providing you with mentorship like you are an apprentice. And we go so fast that you might get motion sickness. Grab a pen and pad to the lab. Let's get in this. It's time to bear some fruit like some Florida oranges. 3, 2, 1. Here come the business ninjas.
Sonic boom!
Yes, and yes, Thrive Nation, we are in the air everywhere. And on today's show, I hate to do this to you folks. I hate to be the guy who starts off the show with a downer. I never want to bring in a downer, but I have to take the room down to set up today's show. Josh, I have to take the room down.
Okay. Like how far are we going down?
Oh, we're going down to the bottom.
Okay.
I'm going to list all of the things, all of the reasons why you should never start a business.
Oh.
Because Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail within the first 10 years.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm buoying us back up, taking us back up. I can tell you, Dr. Zeldin and I have never failed. We've built several multi-million-dollar companies, but there's a lot of reasons not to try. Because it's a lot of failure. I mean, James, you're an attorney. How often have you seen somebody start a business, good person, smart guy, and they're so smart that it made them almost dumb and their business failed?
Yeah, I mean, even with attorneys, a lot of them are struggling as well. So the failure rate is high across the board.
You've seen it, though.
Yes.
Joel, you're an MMA fighter. You fight people professionally for a living. How often have you seen somebody who says, man, I want to start training with you, bro. I want to be an MMA fighter too, bro. Bro, let's train. What kind of protein do you drink, bro? Bro, we got to do this together, bro. We're in the, and then they quit. How often does that happen?
Hey, I'm an entrepreneur, and fighting is the exact same thing, man. Everybody wants to talk until it's time to work.
So Napoleon Hill says the only way to really lose, to fail, the only way to fail is to quit. So what's happening now is all across this country, somebody out there has a little thing inside of you that says, I want to start a business.
Yeah.
But my job is to kill that hope. Because if you look at my life and you see the success I've had, you would think you too could have success. And I'm saying this stuff because people think these things.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to list off these things. We're going to go around the horn. We're going to list off all the reasons why you shouldn't start a business. And then we're going to get Matt Klein's take on this too. Okay. So Matt Klein, reason number one is you might think you don't have what it takes. Matt, how tall are you? Are you there, Matt? Did I lose you? Oh, I lost.
Oh no!
See, this is another reason not to start a podcast. You're interviewing someone, and then they hang up on you. They get that offended, and they hang up. Let me call them back here. We'll see if this is a good teaching moment.
This is
See
because
if he
this is
picks
what's
up on
going to
the
happen.
first ring.
It's that sort of rejection that causes people to not start a business. Matt, are you there? Are you back?
I am.
Oh man, I lost all my joy. Now, Matt, we were talking today about why someone out there should not start a business and why they should start a business. Because I want to deal with all these issues. When someone buys an OxyFresh franchise, they're essentially buying a business. The first reason you shouldn't start a business, if you're going to believe in the doubt, is you don't have what it takes. Matt, talk about that. How tall are you?
I am 5'10".
And did you not lead Colorado in scoring during high school basketball?
I did lead Colorado in scoring my senior year for the season. Yes, I did.
How?
I practiced a lot.
But I mean,
took a lot of shots.
But I mean, if people were to walk in a room and see you and say, and as a young guy, they probably wouldn't have picked you on their starting five as a young guy because you're not a tall guy, right? I mean, someone could have that thought, correct?
Certainly for the sport of basketball, I probably would not have been picked. But, it's just like anything else. I mean, why are there certain people that are so much more successful at the same thing with the same tools, or maybe even sometimes with less tools and less support? right? It's all about them wanting to be successful, putting the things in motion, actually trying, paying attention to details. Like we see it in all of our days. Like anybody that's been in an office that's got more than 10 people, you can see who's high performing and who's not, right? I mean, even in very simple jobs or tasks, some people just do things better and try harder and want to be successful and climb the ladder. And some people are just okay being average.
So what happens is if you fill your mind with negativity, you're going to get that negativity. So again, if you're listening to this show, and I'm saying this jokingly, but if you listen to a show like this and you go, must be nice, probably not for me. I mean, Joel, you're an MMA fighter. Couldn't you have the thought, I don't have what it takes. I couldn't do it. Or I mean, tell me, walk us into your mind. Do you ever have those thoughts? Do you battle those thoughts? Help us win the battle of the mind. Have you ever had those self-doubts?
I mean, you talked about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. That's one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that, yes, you can, and I also study the subconscious mind in terms of hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming. You have to understand that those thoughts come, but you can reprogram them. And so my brain has pretty much programmed to thrive, and I don't live in fear-based mindsets. That's just not a part of our reality. That's not a part of my reality. So in terms of fighting, I'm not going to do something if I don't believe I can be the best. I'm not going to do something if I don't believe I can get better at it to get the result that I want. And I want to be a world champion to and reach the highest level. So defeat cannot be in my mind whatsoever.
This is not going to be a coronavirus-themed show, but I can tell you I felt like I had a message of truth that needed to get its way to the White House. I needed to get that message to the White House. And I did receive an invitation from the White House to go to the White House. I felt like I needed to share the truth about the Trump rally. And then I did get an invitation from the White House to attend the Trump rally in Tulsa. I had a White House press pass. So these things happen. But, man, you've got to lock on with a positive attitude. Josh, I mean, your company, Living Water Irrigation, if you ran around saying, I don't have what it takes. I mean, how would it be? I mean, think about how hard it would be to hire employees.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're not bringing some level of enthusiasm, Jack Welch, the 4 E's and the P, and I mean, if you're not bringing that, then no one's going to want to follow you. I mean, that's the bottom line. If you're not showing up every day with high energy, if you're not inspiring and motivating and encouraging, if you're not developing people, if you don't believe in yourself,
there it is.
Then there's no way anybody could ever believe in you.
Exactly.
Matt, second reason not to start a business. Someone says, I've never tried this industry before. This is the crap I get all the time, especially right now. These reporters, these media people, a lot of the media people watching right now, I'm sure I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other media people. But I went to an event. I was on Newsmax. I've been on CNN, all this stuff. And this reporter, we're doing the pre-conversation just before you're live, and she says, Clay, you're not a doctor. What makes you think that you can accurately say that just 0.02% of people who get coronavirus die? And I said, listen, it's called the mastermind. I've surrounded myself with the state's top virology expert, the state's top scientists, doctors. I've surrounded myself by people who know, so I can boldly state the truth because I have analyzed it and found it to be true. Now, maybe on a deeper level or maybe more of a shallow level, somebody just got laid off, Matt, and they were a C-level position. They were a chief executive officer. They were a chief financial officer. And they're saying, I kind of want to buy an OxyFresh franchise or maybe a Jimmy John's or some other, some franchise that's been proven to work. Okay, it's been proven to work. That's why franchises work. And they're talking to their husband or their wife or themselves, and somehow that doubt creeps in of like, you've always been an accountant. You could never possibly be a carpet guy. You've always been a professional baseball player. You could never be a carpet owning guy. You've always been a Domino's franchise owner. You could never be a carpet guy. Matt, tell us all the different industries that people come from before they buy an OxyFresh.
Oh, man, at this point, I think we've kind of hit everything from, veterinarians to lifelong accountants to people that have already been in tons of other business to professional athletes. And I get this all the time. I mean, this, self-doubt is a huge reason why people don't actually move forward. And it's not for me to say, who this person needs to be, but, I get a lot of people to the end of this process, and then they start making up things that aren't, they start saying, well, I don't think it can be successful, or I don't think my territory has enough population, or there's no one to hire in my area here. There's not one person in the entire, Chicago area that has the ability to do this job or that I can employ. Or it could be whatever, right? Or we don't make money fast enough, right? And all these things are just doubts that they're bringing up because they don't think they can do it, which is actually okay. But let's just call a spade and get down to the brass tacks of it, which is none of those things are really true, right? We're trying to create something here that's not real so that you can walk away from this process and have the okay peace of mind to say it wasn't for me, right? And you're exactly right, Clay. I mean, there are you can bring up anything you want and talk yourself into it. But at the end of the day, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back in the same profession that you just got laid off from and try to start your hands at again? You want to, bet on yourself and try to create a business? There are extremely few people that come to me ever that have any experience in this industry, carpet cleaning, floor cleaning, or have ever run a business before ever. That is the norm. People that have never done this before. So we're used to training and getting people up to speed and making sure that they have all the tools that they need to be successful. We are not used to and hardly ever come across someone that already has a skill set, that already knows this industry, that already knows how to market, that already knows how to train. We have to take very green individuals in terms of business ownership. We got to start from scratch almost every single time.
That was too positive. It was too positive. Too positive. It's too hopeful. It's too optimistic. And so I want to go to James here for a second. James.
Oh, so the attorney will bring it down.
Yeah, because it's a thing of like, listen, Matt's too positive, and I'm trying to rightly divide this show to connect with people that have a little doubt they need. And I think a lot of times if you listen to a show and you go, that's so true, I was just thinking that, I think it's more cathartic. So I'm trying to give both sides here, although I am an optimistic person. But James, I told you on the phone, I said, you need to move from Manhattan to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we're going to file some lawsuits, and we're going to make it happen. We're going to open up America.
Save America.
We're going to open America. And what did we just do today or yesterday?
Well, we filed a lawsuit against the mayor of the city of Tulsa, and I believe it was the health department, to repeal the mask mandate.
And did the media not show up today?
Oh, it was 10 cameras and reporters and
now I'll
30
tell you
people or
this.
something?
Yesterday, I almost slapped a man, and I was thinking, Josh, in Oklahoma law, I mean, in Colorado law, can you slap a man? Is that a rule, Matt? With the corona,
I think only if they break into your house can you slap somebody.
So in Colorado,
but there's another.
I haven't tested it.
You can also do it when you have consent.
So this is what happened, though.
Well, there you go.
Listen, this happened, and I started to get mad, and I'm just sharing this because it happened yesterday. And Joel, you write music, so I want to have you chime in on this. But you know how you have an idea for a song, and the song's just not quite coming together yet. Maybe the lyrics are there, but it's like the melody's a little bit off. Hey, Joel, you write music, right? I mean, you and have you ever where you're so close but you're not there yet? And have you ever been in like a songwriting session or with a group of dudes and one dude's negative?
I can't do it.
You got to get him out of here.
He's got to go.
So I'm calling up, Channel 2, Channel 6, Channel 8, 23, Tulsa World, Journal Record, Newsmax, One America. I'm calling. And this guy walks by and he says, how many people have we gotten yet? And I go, well, if you round it up, 0. And he's like, well, what if we? No, I'm serious. And he's like, well, have you ever done this before? And I said, sued a mayor? No. What do you? But that was like where he was like, oh, you haven't? Oh no. You could see all hope was destroyed at the moment, knowing that there's been no one who has done it before. So what I see is people making excuses right now saying, I have no experience in this. I've never done it before. Therefore, it cannot be done. But I'm telling you this, you have what it takes to make it happen. You have what it takes to make it happen. Josh, were you born a slave?
I was not, sir.
Joel, were you born a slave?
Never.
Think about this. George Washington Carver. This is the most famous inventor, botanist of all time. This guy was unbelievably prolific. But he was born a slave. And this guy had to say, listen, I recognize that I don't know how to oxidize the soil that has been depleted of minerals due to years and years, generations of cotton farming, but I'm going to figure it out. And now we go to Outback and we eat the heck out of sweet potatoes. I'm serious. That was a thing. He fixed the soil, but homeboy had to sit down and get down to the task. Now,
yes.
the third thing I want to tackle, I have 3 issues I want to work through here, and then I want Joel to chime in on this as well. Geography. geography. Matt, how often do you see somebody who says, to buy an OxyFresh, I got to come all the way to Colorado? I live in Missouri. To go to Colorado? People they said it's like they're not willing to move like James for the deal, for the project, how often do you hear that? Or someone's like, I'd like a territory, but Matt, it's 47 minutes outside of my comfort zone. I mean, how often do you hear that?
Constantly, especially now that we have, we're up to about 420 territories operating in the United States, right? And we do have protected territories. So we're seeing that. We see when people want to travel to Colorado, there's all sorts of things that get put in their way. Like, I don't want to come out to Denver. I don't have time, right? And
I
so
love that
you
one.
don't have time to come out to Colorado to learn about your franchise, but you want to run a franchise, right? And so, there's always a rebuttal to all these things. It's just a different perspective of their thought process that I need to kind of break in there too. But yes, I mean, I get questions all over and I get pushback all the time for things. And so it's a constant kind of back and forth with people. And it's just kind of getting their mind in a different scenario where they can actually think about what's going to be best for them, not what immediately they think about. Well, I got to go to Colorado, or the territory that I own is not my exact backyard, or I'm not going to be able to leverage my 20 friends that I've had for 20 years here, which would be not a blip in the radar of your success of your franchise. So absolutely, Clay, I get this all the time.
Now, on the opposite side of that, someone's willing to hop in a plane and make it happen. So, Joel, how did you first hear about me there, Joel?
So here's the craziest story ever. If you guys are ready, if you believe in energy, if you believe in the law of attraction and energy, I was flying to Albuquerque, New Mexico 3 weeks ago for my fight that got canceled. And my buddy Anthony Rigsby actually had gone to one of your conferences, your business conferences. I had seen him in the Denver airport as he was coming back from vacation to go back to Arizona, sitting next to the same terminal.
Wow.
That I was flying to Albuquerque to.
Wow.
So he ultimately said, hey, I love what you're doing on your platform, because I've been talking about Bill Gates. I've been talking about all this.
You've been talking about Bill Gates?
We've been talking about everything.
You can't talk about Bill Gates.
Hey, it doesn't matter. For the last 2 months.
And
he's like, hey, you need to watch this Clay Clark guy. This is a video. You got to see this video clip of him calling out Bill Gates on TV. So I'm like, really? so he shows me your viral clip, and I go, that he's doing it. That's my tribe right there. So that's when I messaged you. We connected. And now I'm here.
And this is the thing. People don't get this idea of seizing opportunity. They go, who's coming to town? Who is he? And I said, John gets it. He's full of faith. But some people don't. And they'll go, who's coming to town? I said, the MMA guy. They're like, you watch MMA? I said, I don't watch MMA. They said, you don't watch MMA? Why is he coming? Because we're on the same channel, same wavelength, same energy, same flow, same mindset, same worldview. And I need to meet him. He needs to meet me. And we're going to help magnify his message, because you're putting out positivity and you're questioning. Please explain your brief Epstein questions that you've been bringing up that are not going over well with people that apparently are big fans of Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, we really have to think about all of this. So there was a nationwide Luciferian march for a one world government. Now, that was on 6/21/2020. And they were marching. So you need to think, they're marching for a one world government. Bill Gates held the first New World Order virtual meeting with one of his friends. I don't remember what.
Are you a Christian?
I grew up Christian.
And when you say Luciferian, just so we're on this, you're referring to Lucifer.
Yeah.
And there was an actual, and people can look this up.
Yes.
Now, here's the deal. I want to make sure we get this. I don't like talking about this stuff. I just want to talk about running a business. Yeah. But we're in this weird world where someone's reaching out to OxyFresh to buy a franchise, and then their friend just texts them a link to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I'm serious. That's what's going on, Matt. You know what I mean? You're just trying to run
They're going to clip those two things together here, and now we're going to be on the news with some crazy stuff. Yeah.
But you know what I mean, Matt? I mean, Matt, wouldn't you say, you don't want to think about these things, right? I mean, I don't.
Neither do I.
But they keep popping up.
Exactly.
You hop on Twitter to update, you post like, we have a great deal on carpets today. And someone comments back, hey, there's a Luciferian march going on. And you're going, Billy. So anyway, back to you. I just
So,
want
so you got to ask yourself. I mean, we have to really think now. Why is this happening? You're a logical person.
Yep.
I've read over 250 books on personal development. I have an Audible full of it. This is what I do. I teach people how to use their brain and think. So my logical brain goes, okay, if they're marching for a one world government, Bill Gates is behind that. He's now trying to inject us with something that obviously isn't tested, isn't good. Well, then why is that happening? And especially, why is he hanging out with Epstein? If this isn't all connected, people can talk about conspiracy all they want, but for something to be conspiracy, there has to be some form of truth in it. There has to be.
let me bring this up real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, Matt. How long have I known you, Matt? How long have I been knowing you?
Ooh, about 7 long, beautiful years.
And so I've never spent the night at your house.
Certainly not.
I mean, right? I mean, I know that you prefer natural, no shampoo. I have no idea if you have tattoos or not. I know you're an incredible basketball player. I know you just got married, but I've never spent the night at your house. Now, I've known your partner, your friend, your boss, John Barnett, for a long time, 20 years. And I've only spent the night at his house, I think, twice, because I like a hotel. I like to wake up at 3 a.m. I'm a terrible guest. A lot of reasons. But I spent the night at his house. Roman, his dog, woke me up with a lick on the face that reminded me of the smell that he was pushing out of his body at the time he was licking my face. I woke up to this sound. I'm like, what is that sound? I look up, it's Roman making this. It's like a mixture between a whale and a wet tongue. I'm not sure what happened, but it was nasty. I told my wife, I love that dog, but it smells like hell, and I can't do it again. Now, Bill Gates has spent the night with Epstein more times than I've spent the night with JB. And then if you go into Epstein's super weird house, the pictures on the wall are all pedophilia themed. Now, I'm saying this. I'm just throwing it out. If I walked into your house and I said, dear good friend, why are there naked kids on the wall?
Yes.
I don't know that I would spend the night. Yeah. So all I'm saying is what you're saying is not crazy. It's just not comfortable.
Yes.
And I'm only bringing it up because everybody asks me, and then we're going to tie it out. We're going to somehow flip it around, and we're going to end up selling a carpet cleaning franchise. So please continue.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, so again, if it's why is all of this? I believe again the shaming. I believe that the masks are again a shaming ritual. If these individuals are at the highest levels of government, business, all these things, and they're able to influence our culture at the rate that they are. You talked about being a Christian. Polarity, the law of polarity. If there's a whole bunch of Christians, there has to be a whole bunch of Satanists. There has to be a whole bunch of things at the highest level doing all these things. We're living it now.
And when you see it, it's weird. It's.
Yes.
I mean, I have people that I've known forever who have been to conferences, and they shoot me a text, and they go, I don't want to talk about it, but did you watch that Netflix special?
Come on.
And I go, is our call being recorded? I mean, it's just that sort of like tension out there in America today. And I want to address it to say, listen, folks, there's no reason I should be hanging out with Joel Bauman if we didn't have a positive attitude. I have to believe he didn't come here to kung fu kick me.
No.
And he has to believe that I am not trying to upsell him some magic money system. Mm-hmm. And we have to believe that OxyFresh isn't a scam, but we also have to verify. We have to trust but verify. So now we move forward with a little bit of trust, and we say, has Matt ever been to Epstein's Island? No. Has Clay been there? No. Okay, we're good.
Emphasis on no.
No. I'm just saying, we say, okay, does OxyFresh, I've Googled them, do they seem legit? Yeah. Matt, talk to me now. When someone wants to buy a franchise, you have to give them a franchise disclosure document. Explain what is in the franchise disclosure document to protect the consumer.
Yeah, and this is a 248-page document that goes through our entire franchise business, the infrastructure, the vendors we work with, the fee structure, your investment, the range of investment that's possible. It goes through rules and regulations. It actually has a item 19, which is a financial performance of the franchise and the franchisees within it. It's got the legality terms in it in terms of what we can and cannot do. It has the rules of what the franchisees cannot do. This is the end-all, be-all document that needs to be reviewed, needs to be understood. It needs to kind of be dove into to where you have complete clarity, right? To where the question marks that you maybe would have, they're all out there in the open. You feel very comfortable that that is something that you must have and you must review, and you must have it at least 14 days before you could ever put any pen to paper in any capacity.
You have to. It's the law. It's the law. Now, James, you're a lawyer. When you
That's
and I
right.
filed a lawsuit, you chose to list yourself as a plaintiff on this mask mandate, which means that you could be potentially committing a crime if you're just making things up, making up statistics. You haven't done your research. I mean, you could be wasting the court's time, committing slander, fraud, whatever. You know what I mean? You did your own research, right? You put it all in that filing. But why did you research? Because you were one of the first people in the country that was reaching out to me via text saying, did you see this?
That's
Did you
right.
see this? Why did you just put in the research before just blindly saying to the universe, well, ABC said it, so it must be true? I mean, you lived next to the empty hospital that the news kept saying was full.
Right.
You sent me videos of it.
Yeah, and also in New York, there was that hospital. There was the Javits Center, which provided an extra 1,000 beds, only a few of which were used. And then the that big ship that came in, hospital beds as well. They built 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollars worth of hospitals in Brooklyn and other parts in New York, and none of them were used. And so why did I do my research? Because I wanted to see if this was as the news was actually reporting it. And then when we drilled down, or when I drilled down and discussed it with you and others, well, mostly you, because others were drinking the Kool-Aid, I saw that it there were two things. Number one, it was being misreported. And number two, there was no context that was given. So 5,700 and some people die per day from the top 10 leading causes of death per the CDC. That's one person every 6 seconds.
Encouragement.
And that's on a normal daily basis without COVID.
Let me give you an example. 250,000 people die per year due to hospital mistakes. So if you divide that by 365 days, that means there's 684 people a day dying from hospital mistakes. Matt, if I sent you a text alert.
And we're not closing hospitals because of it.
Matt, what if I did this? What if I said, Matt, I signed you up on this cool new newsletter. It's an encouraging newsletter. And what I do is every hour I text you how many people have died by hospital accidents. And you got 28. By the way, if I did start that newsletter, I would have no subscribers. But you would get a report that would state 28.5 people die per hour of hospital mistakes. Matt, if you got a text message every hour that said 280 or 28 people, it's 28 people per hour that die. 28 people per hour are dying from hospital errors. If you got a text message that said 28.5 people are dying from a hospital error every hour, at a certain point, wouldn't you think there's something wrong with hospitals?
I certainly would want to investigate that.
I mean, it's the relentless media drip campaign. So what I want to do right now is I want to free everybody and give you hope, okay? So one, we've addressed these three areas that will keep you from having success. One is that believing that you don't have what it takes. I'm telling you, you do have what it takes. Point two, the excuse mindset. I don't have experience in the industry. I'm saying you do have what it takes to happen. Third excuse, you're not willing to move. No, you are willing to move. You're willing to do whatever it takes. But somebody out there, you're bound by fear today. And I want to kind of help you get unscared of this. Matt, what are you doing to keep yourself not afraid of all this COVID stuff? Are you drinking Purell? Are you using a Lysol as a new deodorant of such? What are you doing at this point to fight the fear?
I do everything I did before. I go to the gym. I wake up on time. I go to work. I do everything I did before. I realize people are sensitive to this, and just like where you guys are at, they're mandating masks everywhere. I mean, I'm following the rules, but in my mind, my life, I live it the way I lived it before with, and so that's worked out for me. Stay healthy, take your vitamins. I don't know.
Hey,
I
Matt.
don't listen to all this other stuff on the radio.
Hey, Matt, surely since this COVID stuff has started, you've started using shampoo. Surely. Surely.
Absolutely not.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, I want to cue up, guys, a motivational audio program I've made for myself, The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Beautiful.
This is now this is not what to do, Matt, but this is what's created the monster here on today's show. Imagine you listen to this every day. Let me cue it up. And then you cue this up.
Cheryl, it seems to protect them from COVID-19. But general mask wearing probably won't help because what's needed is the sophisticated N95 mask, the one in short supply for frontline medical.
When we get in a situation where we have enough masks, I believe there will be some very serious considerations.
Eventually, you would just get scared. And that's every newscast. Matt, have you noticed that? Every newscast is just, you're trying to go out for hot wings with some friends, and you look at the screen, and it's like that eerie music, and it's like, tonight, the secrets about COVID that you never knew. Matt, how do you shut that out?
I just go in my own direction, man. I feel that I personally feel that I think there's a lot of agendas happening. I mean, I don't dive too much in those. I literally, I mean, we're fortunate enough. My life hasn't changed much. Our business is thriving. We're in an industry that, you know, is not extremely affected by this. We have to change the way we do these and mandates, but you know, I just try to go about my business and try to get people in a scenario. There's a lot of people because of this that are calling me that have lost their job. I take it upon myself, at least with OxyFresh, to deliver another, you know, option to them that they didn't maybe even think of. So, you know, I think I'm in a little bit of a scenario where I can help, you know, a limited amount of people, but certainly some.
So you are helping people find a new career. I mean, that's something you're doing, Matt.
Yeah, I feel. I mean, I talk to multiple people a day, much more than before. That I mean, the story is the same. My industry, my job. I got laid off. I got furloughed. I got a family. I don't know what to do. My industry's gone. I don't know. I don't have a whole bunch of other skills. I mean, I'm talking to people on a much larger scale now because of the impact of the decisions that have been made across the country. I mean, I'm seeing the front line of that. Right, I'm seeing after they've gone through the hysteria of losing their job and trying to figure it out. I'm on the other end of that. I'm maybe the light at the end of the tunnel, and franchising in general is to give them another avenue. So hopefully, a lot of people will kind of veer away from what they were doing because they were afraid to leave. Now if they're forced to, they have another option. So I'm a little bit fortunate in that scenario where we're talking about the next step after this. Hopefully.
How much money does an OxyFresh cost if I'm listening right now and I want to buy a business? Maybe I want to buy my new job.
Yep. Our initial franchise fee is $39,900. That's what it takes to become a franchise. That includes your protected territory, your entire equipment setup, product for about 3 months, plus the training where I will fly you out to Denver and you spend some time with us. In addition to that $39,900 though, you want to have about $20,000 to $25,000 in operational capital available to you for things like insurance and local marketing and vehicle and employee costs. So you want to have all in somewhere around $60,000 to $65,000
total, all in. And so if you got a small business loan for that, you put that on like a 5-year, maybe a 7-year note. Do you have any idea, Matt? I mean, do a lot of people get small business loans?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd say probably 70% of the people that become franchisees with OxyFresh have some sort of funding, whether it's an SBA loan, a home equity line of credit, secured, unsecured lines of credit, retirement rollovers, right? There's all sorts of different ways of getting funding, personal credit that they get from friends or family. So, for those that want to do it and have the will to succeed, they'll find a way.
And if you got a 10-year loan, by the way, folks, for $50,000, your payment would come out to about $500 to $600 a month. And for that amount of money, if you could buy a business, I mean, that's a pretty good deal. And OxyFresh, how many locations are there now, Matt? Do you have 7 locations? Do you have 4 locations? How many locations?
We just breached 420.
420?
420 locations last week.
Matt, is this your ode to Cheech and Chong? Is that why you said 420?
Is it the legal marijuana stuff? Is that what it is again,
Is that
Matt?
a subliminal thing you're weaving in there?
Well, we are based out of Denver, so we had to put a little asterisk over that one.
Joel, for somebody out there that is fighting fear, as you probably have faced in the ring, you go into the ring, What advice, what tip would you give them, and then where can people learn more about you?
Absolutely. So I've been listening to everything that everybody's been saying, and as an entrepreneur and as an independent entrepreneur, I got started in network marketing. So I've made over six figures in network marketing. But by the time I was 23,
Really?
yeah, absolutely. That's where I got my start. And we address fear in the subconscious mind all the time. So I literally just tweeted this last night at 11:49 p.m. And it says, "Are you living your dream? If not, why?" Sounds like excuses to me. So that goes on. You're making excuses as to why you can't control yourself. You're not accepting that's unacceptable. We all can control our thoughts. We all can control our emotions. We all can think logically. So if you're having trouble doing that, again, please reach out to me. _King Bao is my IG. You can find me on Joel Bauman. I would love to help everyone, learn some of these techniques. I plan on creating a platform to teach people how to use their subconscious mind effectively, how to control their emotions. That's a part of the People TV as well. That's a part of what I'm striving to do, is just teach and educate people, how to use their mind effectively, and also teach people about business, because I think that network marketing and social business is a tool that can save the world, especially right now.
Josh Wilson, what would be your tip for anybody out there who's fighting the fear, who's having a hard time with overwhelm? Maybe they just lost their job, maybe they're fearing about losing their job. Maybe they got tested for COVID-19 and they don't even feel sick, but they were told they have it and they got tested again like Joel did, and then you found out you didn't have it, right, Joel? You tested, they said you didn't have it. Then you took it again, and they said you did have it.
Yep.
And then you took it again, and they said you didn't have it.
Yep.
And you had to miss a fight as a result of that multiple tests. Yep. Am I correct?
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. So what would you say to fight the fear?
So I'll go at it from two different directions. First and foremost, as a Christian, so it says in the Bible 365 times, because God knew when he created us and after the fall where we were going to be and who we were going to be. It says 365 times, do not fear.
Do not fear.
He wants us to understand there is nothing to fear. And I know it's very difficult in these times. And it's very weird to say all things work for the good. All things do. He has a plan for each and every single one of us. I promise you that. It may not look like it at the time. We all have trials and tribulations we go through, but I do know in the end he has a great plan for all of us.
I'm going to give you a mega point for that, as I so often don't do.
Ooh.
Okay, one.
But
mega
I think
point.
Joel's were worth a couple mega points. Though, so I think you cheated him.
No. Joel has to work his way into mega points.
Oh,
if he were to get an early mega point, it would.
Then he wouldn't appreciate it.
Well, it's like when the government prints money we don't have. It decreases the value. Listen, guys, I'm like the Federal Reserve of this show. I can't just print money. We're on the gold standard here.
Great.
I can't give Joel a mega point yet.
There we go.
He has to knock
Joel,
you out
I'll
or
give
me
you,
out. Or
I'll give you on credit some of my mega
points. Some sort of MMA violence has to occur before he receives the mega point. Okay.
So then I'll approach it this other direction.
Yeah.
So kind of what Joel was saying. But it absolutely, everything that we do, everything that you are, everything that you choose to be is a choice.
Is a choice.
There's millions of stories. You can look at Clay Clark's story. I'm sure Joel has an awesome story. My story. There's stories over and over and over and over again of people choosing to pick a different route for their life as opposed to the path that their parents set them on or their grandparents or their familial legacy or all those things. There's always something different if you choose to do so. So just choose to live in positivity. Choose to listen to positive things. Choose to just enjoy the sunshine and the beauty that is this great creation.
Yes.
Wow. Josh, you get another mega point.
Whoa.
That's impressive. Matt, I appreciate you being on the show
Matt,
today.
will that get me an OxyFresh? Can I get an OxyFresh for 2 mega points, Matt?
Is that how that works?
That's all. Just two. Give me 3 mega points. We'll negotiate.
He can't.
I got
he can't get the
2
trifecta.
now. I got
he can't
2.
get the trifecta. He's tried. You cannot. You can very rare. The co-founder of Netflix barely got the trifecta. And he asked for him. He said, "What do I need to do to get a mega point?" And I told him what to do, and he did. The co-founder of Netflix, if you listen to that show, he did get his 3rd mega point as a result of diligently following the system, as Josh refuses to do. The co-founder of Netflix did follow the systems, follow the processes. He put in the work. Step 1, build a $1 billion movie platform.
Okay.
Step 2, get
Step
2
2.
mega points.
Okay.
You add put the mega point for the $1 billion thing,
Okay.
all of a sudden that's 3.
That's 3? Okay.
Hey, Matt, if I want to buy an OxyFresh, what's your website? How do I get a hold of you? Direct me. Where do I need to go?
Well, you can go to thrivetimeshow.com/oxyfresh. That's a great way to do it. Or you can go right to oxyfresh.com, fill out a form. We'll get in touch with either myself or Andy or Mike, who work on my team here in terms of franchise development. And we'll take you through the process. It costs you $0 to do that. You can explore all the options here, see if it's going to be a good fit. And if it seems to be so, you might be a owner of a brand new business very soon.
Matt, I appreciate you for being here. You are an incredible American. Thank you for not using shampoo so that I can use it. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right, man.
Guys,
you take care.
I appreciate the time.
See you, dude.
Thanks.
Bye. Andrew, today I was interviewed on the Conservative Commando radio show, and I thought we could play audio from the show. Are you down with that?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Are you ready now? Are you ready now, or do you need a little wind up or anything, or are you feeling ready to go?
I'm feeling ready.
Okay, you're looking like you're feeling ready, and you look like you sound like you smell terrific.
Thank you.
I got to ask you, you're kind of a newly married guy now. How long have you been married?
About 2.5 years. Yeah.
Do you and your wife share a shower?
We do. We share a bathroom. Yeah.
You surely share a shower.
Surely share a shower.
And in that shower that you share, do you guys share hair product?
No.
No. Oh, shocking!
No.
Unbelievable. This just that you don't share. I don't either, but I want to know why.
Okay.
Why are you like a thicker hair guy and you need? Are you going with shampoo and then are you going with like a body scrub and a conditioner, or are you like a one product kind of guy?
No, I've got I don't know like two things. I'm just not picky. I just get whatever.
You're gonna get like the Suave brand.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's always 30% more.
Yep.
And it's like $3. That's what you're gonna do. Or you a
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Do you go with the funny names, the funny brands?
I don't know what it's called. It just smells good. I just smell it and then.
But I mean, you're a one product guy. Are you a shampoo, body wash?
Three product guy.
What three products are you into?
Hair, face, and body.
You're sick.
This is a strange question.
I'm asking you. I'm serious.
Why are we-
Well, I'm asking. The people want to know, and I'm asking you.
They do. Okay.
Are you?
All right.
So you do shampoo? Yes or no? Answer the question.
Yes, I do.
Do you believe in body wash? Yes or no? Answer the question.
Yes, I do.
And then shaving cream.
Yeah.
That's a 3-product kind of guy.
Yeah.
You're not a 7-product guy.
No.
You're not a loofah guy.
No.
Whatever. You sure?
Yes.
I think you. Okay. I
now
know.
everybody knows.
All right. Now we'll get started on
Okay.
my interview on the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show and the television show. Thanks to the AUN TV network, the Conservative Commandos radio network, and of course, if you're not near one of those many broadcast towers, you've always got Al Gore's amazing internet to connect you. We truly are everywhere, with the possible exception of China, North Korea, and Iran, just because I think the regime there doesn't really approve of, freedom. It's a dirty word there. But I'm George Landreth. I'm one of your Conservative Commando hosts today. I'm glad you're with us. If you've missed any part of the show or you want to get more information, get a rebroadcast, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. I'm very pleased to introduce our guest, Clay Clark. He's a former SBA Entrepreneur of the Year. He's also the founder of Thrive15, Thrive15.com. And that's a highly respected business school as seen on Forbes, Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, you name it, it's out there. But he is also a contributor for the Entrepreneur magazine, and he's an investor and co-owner in a number of businesses all over the globe. And he is someone who advocates for business opening up, schools, etc., because it turns out Clay has a brain. So with that, Clay, welcome to the Conservative Commandos.
I appreciate you for noticing I have a brain. Hopefully my brain is up to the standards of your listeners.
I'm sure it will be.
Okay.
I was not taking a swipe at you by saying you have a brain. I was taking a swipe at those who say we can't open up the schools, we can't open up anything, we got to stay closed.
I get it.
I that's the most mindless thing I've ever heard of.
I agree with you. Now, I think this is kind of funny. If we have a little history lesson, we go back. The Oklahoma City Thunder had a basketball game. The game was being played. The crowd was excited. The ref runs in and says, we must shut down the game. We got to shut down the game. We got to send everybody home because the models that came out of the UK, predicted that 2.2 million Americans might die. And all of us said, oh my gosh, it's from the UK. The models are from the UK. We have to shut down because it's from the UK. And then Neil Ferguson comes out and does a retraction. He's the man who made the models. He comes out and says, as the director of the Abdul Latif Jameel Institute, he says, my corrections, my findings, I've done some corrections to my findings, my models, and we now know that 2.2 million people aren't projected to die. I got to adjust that because it was 25 times too high. And so Dr.
Right.
Deborah Birx gets up there and does the most awkward press conference I've seen in a long time. The Scarf Queen gets up there and she says, perhaps some of you seen that the models had been adjusted by 25 times. And I thought for sure the fear's going to stop. The fear's going to stop. And then we start reporting daily on the number of deaths. And just think about this. In 2017, 2018, 80,000 people died from the flu. And if I updated America on the number of deaths every day, just
The
doing some
garden
simple
variety
maths,
flu. We're just talking about the regular flu.
I would say, I'm just making sure the listeners get this. Every day in 2017, 2018, this would be the news. Tonight, unfortunately, 219 Americans have passed away from the flu. Back to you. Every night, tonight, 219 people have died from the flu because the flu kills 80,000 people a year. Or another example would be hospital accidents. They kill 250,000 people a year. So I would say tonight on the news, unfortunately, 600 Americans have died by a medical oops. So this idea of daily monitoring you about how many people have died, it doesn't make any sense. And now that now we've moved the goalpost to focus on the cases. It's unbelievable.
A quick question. Do you happen to know how many people die daily from slipping in the bathtub?
I don't know. I can say I have 5 kids, and we had a rough patch there for a while where my kids were young, and they would leave various accoutrements in the bathroom, and I thought I was going to die on a daily basis, but I do not know, George, how many people die from slipping out of the bathtub on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, it's probably an unfair question, but the reason I ask that is because if we truly are going to be a society that expects there to be zero risk, if the requirement is zero risk, then all Americans must stop bathing immediately. No more baths, no more showers. Don't even get out of bed.
Oh, don't give me, that's a great vision.
People die every day in their bathroom, in their bedroom. They go down the flight of stairs and fall. They die. We need to stop all that foolishness.
Car accidents. Folks, think about this. 96% of businesses fail, which is why in China, they don't let you start them because it's too risky. So I just would ask you, if you're listening today, I would encourage you, if you get a chance, to go to timetofreeamerica.com. It's timetofreeamerica.com, and assume that everything I tell George today is completely bogus. Pretend I'm like the mainstream media, where I'm just saying things without fact-checking, and then go to the site. And I have cited every single statistic I will share on today's show. It's all cited, it's all sourced, and I encourage you to begin to question what I'm saying. We got to move beyond traditional education where you blindly accept information, memorize it, and regurgitate it and put it on a test. I'm asking you to wrestle with the information and ask yourself, am I telling the truth or am I full of bunk? Because I'm certainly not selling you something. I'm just trying to share the truth with George and you because I care.
It makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about masks. You have, interesting enough, Joe Biden this past week has said he thinks we should have a national mask mandate. I don't know how the federal government could actually do that, but that's what he said because it's a state issue, it seems to me. But nonetheless, and he wants to do it through Election Day. It seems to me that's designed to basically just keep us whipped up in a sense of fear. But I've seen these masks. I actually have to wear one in Virginia because we have a mask mandate. And so you can't get into Costco or, Walmart without one. And I'll be honest, I sometimes do home repairs. I have 7 kids and they've broken some drywall. So I've learned how to do drywall. So I'm familiar with drywall dust. And these are masks that I don't bother to use with drywall because the particles find their way through it anyhow. So I have a better system. I use a vacuum when I sand it so I don't have to breathe as much of it, but I don't bother with the mask. And these are the same masks they're suggesting they're going to protect me. And I'm not a doctor, but that doesn't make sense to me. I'm kind of scratching my head going, really? You're kidding me, right?
Well, let me tell you a little story. I have several businesses. My partner owns the state's largest auto auction, and then I own a business. It's called drzellner.com, by the way. And then I'm involved in a company called Tip Top Canine, where we train dogs, and Elephant in the Room, where we cut hair. And I could go on listing these companies. But the point is, the employees, one particular young lady came to me during one of our staff meetings. She looks at me, and she says, hey, when I wear the mask, boss, that I have to wear, I get like really sick, and I don't want to make a deal about it. I can't breathe. And I thought, whoa, because I thought, maybe I'm not a mask expert. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one who has these feelings. So I reached out to Oklahoma's top virology expert, a man by the name of Dr. Jim Meehan, Meehan. And I will send the report he sent me to all your listeners if they want it. So if you want the report, you can email me to info@thrivetimeshow.com, and I'll send you the report. But he sends me the report to info@thrivetimeshow.com. I read it, and in the report, he states, and this is crazy stuff, but basically if you are an employer in America today, according to OSHA, you're not allowed to force your employees or allowed to have your employees work in an environment where the oxygen level falls below 19.5%. Again, I repeat, you can't, as an employer, make your employees work in an environment where the oxygen level is below 19.5% because it causes, check this out, irreparable physiological damages. And I'm thinking, George, I know a lot about haircuts and dog training, and I was a disc jockey at one point. I know how to build businesses, but what does that mean? You start looking it up. I'm going, Jim. It's like one of those Spock, Jim, Spock. It's like a Star Trek moment. My mind exploded. And I'm going, are you telling me that the mask mandates will cause my healthy employees to get sick? And he says, yes. So then I reached out to Dr. Dan Erickson, who you've probably seen on YouTube before his videos vanish, Dr. Dan Erickson there. And I reached out to him, and Dr. Dan Erickson said, Clay, people that have a death rate, there's a death rate with COVID-19 of 0.02%. So if 10,000 people get COVID, only 2 are going to die. And I'm going, what? So you mean we're going to make healthy people sick from oxygen deprivation to potentially protect us from a disease that only kills 2 out of 10,000 people that get it? That just doesn't make any sense. And then I realized this whole thing doesn't make sense because Dr. Fauci, Mr. Dr. Fauci, he's also the one who funded the Wuhan laboratory at the very epicenter of all this chaos. And all your listeners can just Google search right now. Dr. Fauci funds controversial Wuhan lab. You can find the Newsweek article. And then you'll find that Neil Ferguson, the guy that made these doomsday models, the most nefariously wrong models of all time, guess who the primary funder was, the primary source of funding for the Abdul Latif Jameel Institute? Amazon. Amazon invested $750 million into the very organization that predicted the models that made us have the shutdowns. And then the guy, Dr. Fauci, who's working with Bill Gates, who funded the lab, the guy who is going to make you take a vaccine, who wants you to take a vaccine, the guy who will not let you open up our country until we have the vaccine, that very guy, Dr. Fauci, is on the patent for the vaccines. It's the most nefarious thing I've ever seen. It's at this point, it's ridiculous. And if you go to timetofreeamerica.com, I put a link there to a button that says the truth about the global reset. And the global reset is what Al Gore is talking about. This is not tinfoilhat.com. This is not conspiracy.com. This is Fox News and Al Gore, the guy whose wife put the parental advisory sticker on all the CDs, Tipper. Al Gore, the guy who said he invented the internet. Al Gore is calling for a global reset. And the head of the Minneapolis Federal Reserve is calling to shut the economy down for a long term to help stop the spread of a virus with a 0.02% death rate. And now Australia, Melbourne, Australia, allows their citizens to go outside for 1 hour a day, quarantines and curfews to stop the spread of a virus that kills 0.012% of the population. This, folks, makes no sense. This right here is what I call a coup d'etat. It's an attempt to passively aggressively or aggressively misguide, mislead the American people. And the best way to do it, the best way to fundamentally change America and to get us to all stay home and lock down our economy and destroy the way Americans live is to scare us. Fear blocks logic. And once you're scared, it's hard to focus when you're scared.
There you go.
And
That's
so
the truth.
They're using fear as a weapon. ladies and gentlemen. And that's why you need to listen to George's show, because George is sharing the truth beyond just this booth.
There you go. That's the truth. Well, Clay, we are up against a break, so we're going to take a quick break here, but I'm glad you can stick around because there's more to talk about. Just remind our viewers and listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth, and Clay and I will be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the television show on the AUN TV network and the radio show, the original, on the Conservative Commandos radio network, broadcast all across this great nation. And of course, Al Gore's amazing internet carries us as well. I am George Landreth. I'm one of your Conservative Commando hosts. Do want to remind you, you can check out our website, ccrshow.com. We have been talking with Clay Clark, and he is the former SBA, Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year, and he's the founder of Thrive15.com. And we've been talking about what's going on with the whole mask, the Wuhan virus or the China virus, and just some of the scare tactics have been used. And so, Clay, if I can start us off in this segment, let's talk about what we should be doing. What are some options we have? Because it's not like, Nancy Pelosi or Congress are going to help any. I mean, so what can people do to, if you will, lawfully take matters in their own hands and try to bring some sanity to the debate?
Well, as an entrepreneur, I'll give you a little business tip. Simplicity scales and complexity fails. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. So I'm going to give the listeners just 2 action items we need to take. 2. Action item number 1, go to that website I mentioned, timetofreeamerica.com. Timetofreeamerica.com. Go there with your favorite glass of coffee. Go there with your favorite glass of wine and say, I'm going to sit there for 1 hour and I'm going to try to devour and disprove everything I find there. So it's resolved in your mind that you are a believer, so to speak, in the truth. That's super important, okay? Now, step 2 is we need to begin to take action. Step 1 is we're just gathering the knowledge. We're resolving in our mind that this is not a scam, that we're not being lied to. We got to get the truth. We got to get inside us. Let it become our own. But then step 2, we need to share everywhere. Now, Matthew 5:10, a controversial book from an even more controversial thing called a Bible, says, God blesses those who are persecuted for their righteousness, for they shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. God blesses those who are persecuted for their righteousness, for they shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. I'll break it down like this. If you're a referee of a 3rd grade softball game and an umpire, and you say, no, that's not a home run, that ball went foul, somebody's not going to be happy about it. But if the whole crowd just finished cheering, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, home run, but it wasn't a home run, it is your responsibility as the umpire for the integrity of the game to say, folks, that was not a home run. And the crowd's going to boo. I mean, they're going to boo big. I'm talking about some big booing there, George. It's going to boo, boo, because people have been posting on social media for 5 months. Oh, we got to be safe, safer together. Stay home. We got to be safe. People are wearing masks. And when you present the truth, you're going to sometimes not always get a positive reaction. And so therefore, I kind of consider myself to be an icebreaker, and I know your listeners are as well. We need to take legal action against these nefarious power grabs to take away your First Amendment right to peaceably gather. You need to gather the facts and then file a lawsuit. And I have an attorney right now, if you'll reach out to him. Okay, the website is thelawyerjames.com, thelawyerjames.com. And right now we have thousands of people all over the country who have decided to get behind some of these causes, and they say, I want to file. I want to get involved. What do I need to do? So go visit his website today. Fill out the form, thelawyerjames.com. And he's actually helping us right now in court. We just filed a lawsuit today fighting back against the mask mandates in Oklahoma. And so Dr. Robert Zellner and myself, Clay Clark, we filed a lawsuit today to lift Mayor Bynum's mask mandate. And if you are a church, go to peaceablygather.com. peaceablygather.com. I helped start that organization. And we're actually helping team up lawyers with pastors to help them win the legal battles. But we got to take action. If you're a pastor, go to peaceablygather.com. If you're not, go to timetofreeamerica.com or email me, info@thrivetimeshow.com. Ask me what you can do. It might be donating $10 a month to pay the legal fees for a church. it might be filing a lawsuit yourself. But the time to remain silent was, if there ever was time, was 5 months ago.
Yeah, not today, that's for sure.
That's right.
In Virginia, it's a crime to go to church, according, the governor. It's like this is crazy.
Your governor's
crazy. You can go to Costco, which is not a constitutionally protected activity, at least specifically.
Right.
But you can't go to church because that's against the law, or at least was. They've recently lifted that. But for 4 or 5 months, it was a crime punishable by a year in jail.
A year.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And you know what's happening, though, is a lot of things are very similar to what happened in 1918. All your listeners, if you don't know the history, then the future is always a nebulous mystery. You find yourself not knowing what's going on, but history repeats itself. So everybody, do a search right now for Hitler, New York Post, epidemic. Hitler, New York Post, epidemic. And you will see, you're going to see Adolf Hitler in 1918 said, well, there's this epidemic going on. We need to take some people who are likely to spread the disease, a.k.a. Jewish people, and we need to have them go into quarantine camps, which later he called concentration camps. It's nothing new, folks. Adolf Hitler, guess who defunded the police in 1933? Oh, it's Adolf Hitler. Guess who's wanting to defund the police right now? Modern-day Hitlers. And you just don't want to believe it because it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable when you find out a faithful friend you thought is stealing money from you. It's not comfortable when you find out that Dr. Fauci is not honest. But let me tell you this, folks. This just came out on August 4th. Finally, Dr. Redfield, the head of the CDC, he finally came out and admitted on August 4th, hospitals do have an incentive to inflate the COVID deaths. Come on, it's taken months. So all this stuff's going to come out, but go to timetofreeamerica.com, timetofreeamerica.com, get the facts, and then reach out to an attorney, and let's go. Let's take action. Come on, folks, and don't worry about that persecution. Do not worry. Trust me, it is going to be easier for you to fight for your rights right now while you still have them than it will be after you lose them. The time to fight is now. Now.
And I agree. Once you've lost the rights, it's much harder to get them back. It usually almost requires a war once they've been taken from you completely. So,
true.
Let's do it now while we can do it at the ballot box. Let's do it now while you can do it with legal action. Let's do it now where we can, where we don't have to, have a revolution. But at any rate, our time's almost up, Clay, but I wanted to make sure that you give us all that one last time, just so everyone can write them down, make sure they've got them accurately. Also Twitter, anything they can do to follow you so they can be up on the things you're looking at, thinking about, and doing.
Yeah, I would just say if everybody goes to timetofreeamerica.com, that's probably the best place to start our conversation. Timetofreeamerica.com. You can sign up for a newsletter. I never try to sell you things. I just give you updates. Or if you'll go to thrivetimeshow.com, that's thrivetimeshow.com. That's the home of our chart-topping podcast. We've hit number 1 on iTunes out of all 500,000 plus podcasts 6 times. And we interview guys like Wolfgang Puck, John Maxwell, Pastor Craig Rochelle, the founder of FUBU, Damon John. I could go on and on listing the names. But at the end of the day, folks, it's about the Thrive Time Show is about helping you to thrive and not just to survive. God gave us that garden to work that thing. That's what he gave Adam. He gave Adam that garden to work that thing. And we were promised in Proverbs 10:4 that God blesses the hands of the diligent and punishes the hands of the slackard. And this nefarious socialist overreach is trying to punish the diligent and give to the slackers. And that's a perversion of God's laws. We've got to stand together. So go to thrivetimeshow.com or timetofreeamerica.com.
Excellent. Well, Clay, I really appreciate the time you spent with us. This has been very enlightening. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate your commitment to fact and rationality. But we are up against the break and we have to go. So I do want to remind our viewers and listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth, and we will be right back. Don't go away.
And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!